is not an AA meeting. This is just one member's view on the exact nature of the wrong as described on page 64 of the big book and the solutions contained within. This is not an all-share meeting, though shares there will be, but actually a question and answer meeting with Paul. I did put this paper in a page I could read from if you want me to read a little bit. It is on page 418. In the big book.
Unmute, Paul.
Got 418 in the big book?
Yeah, I'm here, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to start at acceptance has been the answer to my marital problems. It's as though AA had given me a new pair of glasses. Max and I have been married now for 35 years. Prior to our marriage, when she was a shy, scrawny adolescent, I was able to see things in her that others couldn't necessarily see. Things like beauty, charm, gaiety, a gift for being easy to talk to, a sense of humor, and many other fine qualities. It was as if I had, rather than a Midas touch, which turned everything to gold, a magnifying mind that magnified whatever it focused on. Over the years, as I thought about Max, her good qualities grew and grew, and we married. And all these qualities become more and more apparent to me, and we were happier and happier. But then, as I drank more and more, the alcohol seemed to affect my vision. Instead of continuing to see what was good about my wife, I began to see her defects. And the more I focused my mind on her defects, the more they grew and multiplied. Every defect I pointed out to her became greater and greater. Each time I told her she was a nothing, she receded a little more into nowhere. The more I drank, the more she wilted. Then one day in AA, I was told that I had the lenses in my glasses backwards. The courage to change in the serenity prayer meant not that I should change my marriage, but rather that I should change myself and learn to accept my spouse as she was. AA has given me a new pair of glasses. I can again focus on my wife's good qualities and watch them grow and grow. Would you like me to continue, Paul?
For about 55 minutes, yes. Go ahead.
Really?
No, to go another paragraph if you like, yeah.
I can do the same thing with an AA meeting. The more I focus my mind on its defects, late start, long drunkalogs, cigarette smoke, the worse the meeting becomes. But when I try to see what I can add to the meeting rather than what I can get out of it, and when I focus my mind on what's good about it rather than what's wrong with it, the meeting keeps getting better and better. When I focus on what's good today, I have a good day. And when I focus on what's bad, I have a bad day. If I focus on the problem increases. If I focus on the answer increases.
Great, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Kathleen. Yes, this is, he's describing a mental trait, yeah, about whatever we focus on. Why is that? Because in another book, an interesting one called The Course in Miracles, they have lessons about living. And one of the first lessons, the lesson number 2, is you and I give everything all the meaning it has. Yeah. So this is the activity of a subjective experience. You, in this case, are the subject, and through you, you are giving everything all the meaning it has. Now, something may be directing that, and there's two options. You're going to either see from a dependence or a trust in self, or you're going to see from a trust in the infinite. Yes? And it's really where you see from is what kind of meaning is going to be given to things. Yeah? So the idea of constantly trying to change the things without changing us is pointless in a lot of ways. So he realized that by looking at himself and allowing that to be noticed and allowing that to be changed, probably through step 6 and 7 also. Yeah, he started to see things differently, even though the things weren't different as the thing, but he saw things differently. So this is like in one of the statements of the disease of alcoholism, it's a disease of perception. They say a lot of things because the disease or the condition that affects all other conditions is in the mental state. Yeah, it resides in the mind, not the big M mind, but the small mind. Let's call it the mental processes. So it's not so much what we're looking at, but where we're looking at it from. And any life run or viewed from that point of view of self-centeredness is hardly going to be a success. It's quite clear. Yeah, it doesn't say any alcoholic life, any life they describe as not going to be successful if you continue to look at it from this self-centered point of view. Yeah, and the admittance in recovery this is not a self-help program. I don't see it that way, where something is described and then you start working on it. And as that which is described, you try to change the description of it and get a better one. Yeah. No, this is about recognizing something and that there's no human power that's going to change it in a sense and access a solution, not from the problem. Yeah. So not attempting to use the head to get out of the head, but to see the head from some other position, and they call it a spiritual condition. Yeah. So, and really, the point I feel of saying a spiritual condition is it's not a mental condition. Really, that's more the importance. Yeah. So let me go over this a little bit. So, what was it? 418, right? Yeah. So has acceptance has been the answer to my marital problems. It's as though AA had given us a new pair of glasses. There's a book by Chuck C., a member of recovery, passed away a while, A New Pair of Glasses. A lot of people found a lot of clear guidance from that. So Chuck Chamberlain. Uh, and again, he's talking about this principle that he saw things in her that other people didn't see and stuff like that. This is the principle of a subjective experience. It's overriding what we think is the objective reality. You understand a little? The subjective experience overrides what you call the objective reality. This is not an objective experience, it's a subjective experience. So we're giving meaning to things. Yeah, relationships, health, ours, theirs, mine, yours, this, that. We're giving, and it's not Paul giving the meaning. Paul is a meaning that's been given to the event. Yeah, Paul is not giving the meanings. He represents either the sense of self or the sense of spirit, really. Yeah. If the sense of if the ability to give everything all the meaning it has comes through the sense of self, we know what it's like. Yeah, we've lived it all. And it went to such an extreme case that it's brought us all together by the defeat we've had because the one thing has defeated all of us, which is this extreme self-centeredness. Yeah. So we were seeing everything. Self-centeredness is how you see everything as how it pertains to you. That's a very, very tunnel vision. Yes. So if you see everything and you don't see the everything as it stands as an everything, and you only see it as it pertains to you, that's an interpretation of life. Yeah. And a lot of us don't like living that interpretation, but we can't seem to get out of it because we're identified as the character that is the base of it. Yeah. Self. We're identified as self, and then we would like to get out of the life interpreted by self as a self. And this is the dilemma that actually proves very valuable if you see it in a new way. That which is the activity of self cannot get out of self, and it cannot get that. It does not understand that. Self, confronted with all of its defeats, just says, if I only manage better, it's going to go well. It's just, it doesn't get it. So they did not make the statement in our community, self to get can't get out of self. It wasn't directed to self. It was directed to us. Yeah. Us that is burdened by self, by being identified as self. Yeah. It was talking to us, describing an incredible aberration of the programming of self, which is self can't get out of self, even though it tries constantly. That's every drink was an attempt to get out of self. Every drug was an attempt to get out of self one way or another. Yeah. Every watching Die Hard 2 to 11 was a way of trying to get out of self. It was constantly trying to get out of self. Unfortunately, we didn't see that we were identified as self. Yeah. So if you sit Paul down and say, Paul, you can't get out of self, it's going to argue with you till the cows come home. Yeah. But if you can see that Paul, aka self, cannot get out of self, yeah, then you now have separated that which has defeated us and the us. Yeah. Self is the defeater and the us is the defeated. The message of self can't get out of self is to the us. Yeah. So that we recognize the futility of relying on the head to get out of the head. It can't. It's always going to be the head. Yeah. I mean, I gave it a good shot. There's a lot of ways we attempt to do it. One is spirituality. I was not a great spiritualist, but I'm telling you, I was a great drug addict. I was. I would put myself on the top 1 percentile of abandoning everything in my life over to the care of that addiction. I would do anything for it. Most of the time, under its tyranny, it sucked, but I lived for those rushes. Yeah, complete spiritless servility to the God of reason. Yes. So I saw how far I would go to try to get out of self as self, and I went pretty fucking far, even to orchestrate ODs so I would get at least 30 seconds freed from self as the body was passing away. But it didn't work. I'd wake up and the cops would be there and I'd be super pissed. I failed once again to get out of self as self. So this whole idea of his view changed, not by his efforts, but by following simple suggestions in this program. Yeah. Because, like it or not, if you follow what we do here, there's going to be a transition or a transfer of faith from finite self to the infinite. It is. That's the whole purpose of the program, is to shift this magnifying quality, this interest and attention that the head wields from being wielded by self to being wielded by the higher power. So, as the book says, we are driven. There's two options in the driver category. It's either trusting self or trusting the infinite. That's it. That's AA's presentation. It doesn't have a third door. It's not like let's make a deal or whatever. There's no third door. It's either you're trusting finite self or you're trusting the infinite. Check it out. You can tell. You'll know the tree by its fruits. You will. Yeah, you will. If you have a great idea and you don't feel like sharing it with anyone, that's probably trusting self. Literally. If you're trying to rationalize that something is cool to do that you know isn't cool to do, you're probably not going to share it with your sponsor and stuff. Pretty good indication you're trusting self at that moment. Yeah, just tell the truth. It's simple. Yeah. When you realize the head is trusting self, you see that you're not the head, and therefore the trust in the infinite overrides the trust in self. And you can see the first real big shift is when the self, the mental selfing is not your GPS. It keeps giving you, descriptions of the destination and turning here and turning there, but you're not listening to it anymore. That's a huge part of its influence on you is playing the GPS. In other words, it's telling you that person sucks. You should never do this and do that, and you follow it. Yeah. Now it says the same thing, but you don't follow it. So that one huge bondage to self has been broken. Yeah. So it keeps saying turn left, turn left, turn left, and you don't do it. You know, when you do that with the car, the GPS in the car, it says turn left and you don't do it, and it goes like a pause, and then it regroups, and then turn left and you don't do it, turn left and you don't do it. Yeah. Obviously, you're not listening to it, but it keeps presenting its view. Yes? Obviously, you're not following the GPS, but it keeps telling you how to go. This is the condition of being relieved of the bondage of self. You can hear its directions, but you're not listening to the directions. Yes? And actually, its directions can turn into a huge comedy skit. It can. You can mine so much comedic value out of the head when you're not living under it. Really. It's amazing the shift. Who would have thought that the CNN of the head was turned into Comedy Central? It's incredible, an incredible, really shift of meaning. Yeah. You were thinking you were living a drama and you were really in a comedy. Yeah. That's amazing. So the person goes on about his marriage, and when he drank more and more and more, obviously he started looking at her defects instead of her virtues. Yes, because the same thing's happening in him. It's just a projection. He's now looking at his defects, and therefore he looks at her defects. Most everything here is a projection. When you're worried about how other people are thinking about you, the only way you can think about how other people are thinking about is your thinking. So you're really worried that they're thinking like you do about you. That's really what it is. So you project it on them. They haven't thought about you for weeks. And you're thinking they're sitting there in their room contemplating your demise. You're not that important to most people, literally. Most people aren't going home. I've met about 50 people today. I'm going home and thinking about that guy, Paul. Pretty much no. I sit here, there's a neighbor in the left of me, neighbor right of me. I could pretty much guarantee they're not thinking about me today. Thinking about me today. Yes. Who's the only one that's obsessed with Paul is probably Paul. Maybe an old girlfriend who wants to be right about Paul, may be obsessed with Paul, but basically, Paul doesn't have that much meaning to many of other people. It's only in this obsessive subjective experience that Paul becomes not much, but it's all it thinks about. It's insane. Yeah. So he was talking about the shift, and then when he drank, it shifted back. So he was in one level trusting the infinite, and then he seemed to shift to trusting the finite, then back to the trusting the infinite. And it seemed like when he was drinking, he was trusting the finite a whole lot more than when he wasn't drinking. Yes. So maybe he put two and two together. Well, the drinking is really supporting the trusting the finite. Yeah. And maybe, just maybe, if I stopped drinking, maybe something would shift and I'd be trusting the infinite. Yeah. A lot of people would love to trust the infinite while still drinking. But in our case, something has to stop first because we have gone too far down that rabbit hole. We have to stop drinking, some of us. Yeah. Everything else is on hold, really, in your life, just waiting for you to get sober. It would be a waste of miracles to be given to you when you're drunk every day. So maybe those with miracles are withheld until there's a point you reach where you get sober, and then stuff starts showing up in your life. Yes, and it's not a coincidence. They're aligned. Yeah, there are some of us here that have to not drink a day at a time. It's just the way it is. We've crossed a line or something occurred that, and then we don't have the luxury of, well, if I drank today, I wouldn't know what to do. We know what, I mean, I wouldn't know what would happen. We know what's going to happen if we drink. I know what will happen to me if I drink after 37 years. Yeah, I'm probably going to drink again. Yeah. It's going to trigger something, and that something is going to shift. And now I'm going to start looking through at life through the lens of self, and I'm going to see a lot of shit I wasn't seeing when I was looking through life through the lens of the infinite. Just that simple. Yeah, yeah. So some of us it's essential that we stay physically sober. Yeah, because in this dreaming, it allows a lot of other things to occur. And just like if you see the difference between an alcoholic and a recovered alcoholic, the recovered alcoholic calls you before they drink, the alcoholic calls you after they drink. Yeah. So if someone calls you before they drink, there's a lot of possibility there. There is. If they call you after they drink, the possibilities have shrunk completely. Yeah. Basically, you got to go to a meeting or got to do this or there's a lot of gotta if you've drink. Yes, it is the way it goes. So we're not masters of stopping. We're at the effect of not starting. And I haven't started in 37 years. It's sort of established. I'm in the habit of being sober. I'm not quaking in fear because I do not believe alcohol is cunning, baffling, and powerful. I believe alcoholism is cunning, baffling, powerful. I do not think a vodka bottle is going to convince me to drink its contents. I just don't. Yes. I think they should have put an ISM in that statement, alcoholism, because alcohol isn't cunning, baffling, and powerful. It's just wet. It's a fluid. Yeah. Yeah. So it's what the head does with it that creates that subjective hell, don't you think? In our subjective hell, it's not fire, it's fluid, it's drinking. The drinking fuels the subjective hell. It just does. It's like putting gas in a fire. So you can talk all you want about the fire, but if you're the one that's bringing the gas to it, see, a lot of people want to talk about a lot of other problems when a giant shadow, like an elephant, is in the room, which is you're in a certain condition that doesn't allow you the luxury to drink today. Yeah, it's just too dangerous. Everyone wants to talk about all these other problems, but really, a lot of times that's the overreaching problem. Yeah, is you're trying to find a solution which allows you to keep drinking and using. And I don't think they've found one yet. Yeah, if you've crossed a certain line. So I think this is a really powerful part because of he's talking about a very important aspect of how the head works. Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, I used to look at bugs. And this one time I was looking at a bug and I wanted to look at the pattern on its shell or whatever it's called. And I ran in and I got a magnifying glass and I was looking through it. And I didn't understand that the sun was moving in the sky. And the sun moved and it was over my shoulder and the sun was going right through the magnifying glass. So while I thought I was looking at the bug, the sun was going through it and it was killing the bug. It cooked the bug because the light got magnified and it was like a laser beam on the bug. Unbeknownst to me, I thought I was just looking at the bug, but the sun was coming through. Yes, this is the power of mind. To be directed by self, whatever it puts its target gaze on, it will mutate it. It can make mountains out of molehills. It can do a lot of shit. It does a lot of magic tricks. Yeah. And we know the old magician. Yeah. And I hope we know now the new magician. Yeah. The old employer has the same old, same old. The new employer is revelatory. Yeah. It's going to be amazing how it takes care of you. You wouldn't have imagined certain ways it takes care of you, where you know how you're going to be taken care of by the head. Yes. Rudely and roughly. Yeah. And you're going to be used for transportation, literally. The head wants to express itself and it's going to use you. And for the parasite to be the host, it has to neuter the hostness of the host. And that's what the head does. The head talks to us as us and convinces us it's us. Yeah. So the parasite convinces the host it's the parasite, and it takes out its largest threat, which is the host. The host could move away if it saw that which is defeating it as a parasite. It has a difficult time moving away if it's taken to be the host. Yeah. This is what causes us to fall in that hole of self, constantly trying to get out of self. The host has been neutered by the parasite, and now it takes the parasite to be the host. Yeah. And we're all driven by the same thoughts. They call them alcoholic thoughts. If you go to meetings enough, you're going to realize two things. How did these people get my thoughts, or they're not your thoughts? Yes. Where we have a shared mental condition called extreme obsession with self that led to alcoholism. Yes. We are shared that. We can describe it, and you may describe it as you, but it's really a description of us taken over by this thing. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, great reading. And again, his vision, though still vision, was changed dramatically by what he was doing or not doing. So when he was sober, he saw things in a different light than when he was drunk or drinking. The seeing was there both times, both ways, but how he saw it was completely different. Well, what about you? What about you? Have you come to the recognition of what's streaming through you? Is it self or is it the higher power? They can both be happening at the same time, but there's a hierarchy. If self is above the higher power becomes an unsuspected resource. If the higher power is over the selfing may have become a comedic reservoir. Yeah, it may be quite entertaining when it's not able to destroy your life. So it's going to play on. That which is playing God isn't you. You're not that which is playing God. It is the head that plays God. Yep. Your quitting playing God doesn't make it quit playing God. You just lose interest in it. So instead of listening to it, you're hearing it. Yeah. When you're addicted to it, you're listening to it. You're in an abject faith in it. That's one of the statements. And abject means a spiritless servility. So find yourself in a condition of spiritless servility to the directions of the head. What an insane condition. Shit. Yeah. It will tell you the least thing you're interested in is the thing you need the most, sobriety. It will. It will convince you. Everyone who meets you knows you're fucked, but it may take you years to figure it out. Why is that? You got something in you that doesn't want you to know your condition. It doesn't. Because if you did, you would see your condition isn't produced by you. You're the one who's having the condition. You're not causing the condition. The addiction The head is causing the condition. Yeah. You do not hate yourself. Something may hate you, but it ain't you. And you are not your own worst enemy. Something may be, but it ain't you. Yeah, that's the beautiful news of this message is the nature of what has defeated us is foreign to us. You can be free from it because you're not it. Instead of trying to be free as it, you will be free from it. Yeah. And that's what's worked for 37 years here. Yeah. Yeah. And that's why we're here sharing, because a lot of people in my community where I live, uh, I I don't believe they had a clear idea of the exact nature of the wrong, and they kept calling the manifestations of self in their life theirs. I mean, that is the bondage of self. If you want to see the bondage of self in action, if you're speaking with someone about self's manifestations and they're calling them theirs, that's the bondage of self in action. It's very clearly described that resentment is a manifestation of self in one's life. Why do you keep calling them yours? Fear is a manifestation of self in one's life. Why do you keep calling them your fears? That ownership is killing you. It is. The ownership is killing you. If you think you're the thinker of a thought, that thought can own you. Yes? My thought has much more power than a thought. My thought can ruin your day. Yes? Your thought's probably not going to ruin my day. But the same thought that's ruining your day, if I hold it as mine, it can ruin my day. Yeah? These are thoughts. They're not yours. Yeah? This sense of ownership is the bondage of self. Yeah? And if there's no one wanting to share, just look at what happens in our community. Many people flock like a duck to the water when they realize that something is doing for us what we couldn't do for ourselves. And they access a large amount of gratitude and they start having an awe, AWE, about what's working in their life, and they honor it. And they'll go to great lengths to help another person find this kind of solution. Yes? Yet when it looks at so here's a higher power that does for us what we can't do for ourselves, but we don't use the same ruler for the lower power, which did through us what we would never have done by ourselves. And yet we take all the blame of the lower power's behavior through us, and we give all the gratitude and credit to the higher power. Why aren't we applying the same thing to the lower power? The lower power was a power just like the higher power, and it did through us shit that we would never have done by ourselves. It's the same miracle, it just has a different effect. A higher power is doing for us what we couldn't do for ourselves. A lower power was doing through us what we would never have done by ourselves. Why are we not giving the credit to the lower power with all the blame that we give the credit to the higher power? Why are we blind and owning all the shit that we did while under the influence, going back to as long as you've been sober, 40, 50 years, and your head will take you to that little mental playground at any moment after 50 years because there's an ownership of the shit that you were driven to do. You believe you did it. Yeah. The gratitude, the grace, you believed you didn't do it. But the grief and the shame and the guilt is based on you believed you did do it. Yeah. Why not apply what's applied to the higher power to the lower power? In both cases, you weren't the doer of it. You're being driven by the higher power now, and back then you were driven by the lower power. Yes? You're the same Oldsmobile. How you drive is defined somewhat by the Oldsmobileness, but really how it goes is based on the driver. Yeah? Why do we have, why do we take all blame and walk around for 50 years like an umbilical cord from the past? Because we believe we were the doer of it. Yeah. What convinced us of that? And what's convincing us that we're not the doer of the grace and the gratitude, that there's a higher power work in our life, but without any understanding, the same working was being done, but by a lower power that had a different agenda. Yeah. You actually were much more devoted to the lower power than the higher power. Most cases. Really. Yeah, because you were being treated terribly, yet you kept on keeping on. Yeah. So I believe this is a parasitical movement to keep you blind to your role in things because it will allow you to see your role in things to a certain point, but you'll never see self's role in things. Yet it seems so easy to see the higher powers role in things while I'm sober. But I'm still living in sobriety with the claiming of all the shit I was driven to do when I was getting loaded. That's insane to me. I don't believe that's just a weird phenomena. I think it's a stubborn uh, mental activity that keeps us blind to the lower power. Yes. What do you think? Doesn't it seem weird that you were easily it was easy to recognize something was doing for you what you couldn't do for yourself in recovery, but you have a difficult time seeing that when you were out there? That something was doing through you what you would never come up with yourself? I don't understand why you have situational blindness. I think it's manufactured by the head. I do. It has to be because the head lives in the past and the future. It does. It does. It's just projecting the future to be like the past, literally. What is a resentment? It's a re-feeling. Don't you think that's the only thing that you do? That's a re? It's rethinking, re-feeling, rehashing, redoing. It's on and on. Basically the same old, same old. Yes? If you're going to take the fall for being the doer of all that shit, go ahead. But don't ask everyone to jump off the same cliff. I think there's a different possibility. And I do not believe if you are the doer of your past, you're not going to ever arrive at not regretting it. Of course, you're going to have regret. Yeah, you did terrible fucking things. You'd be a psychopath if you didn't. You'd be a sociopath if you didn't regret your past. You would be in society. But if you were driven, that excludes you from being the driver. And it's in the book. Decisions were made from self. It doesn't say you made those decisions. You were at the effect of the decisions. The head made decisions based on self that led you into a lot of fucking misfortune. Yeah. Yet, when you come out of it, you believe you were the doer of it all. But when you're sober, you can easily get out of that idea of being the doer. So I do not believe it's a giant glitch. I think it's a situational one. I do. You can give all praise to the higher power and live a life of humility, but obviously you're stuck with this fucking umbilical cord of being the doer of all that past stuff. And how are you gonna not regret the past or shut the door on it if it's yours? Your head is gonna take you back all the fucking time. If it's your past, you're going to be a constant visitor of it. And what's going to take you there is not the infinite, it's the fucking head. because it plays God there and it plays God in the future. Does God tell you how the day's going to be? No. Does the head tell you how the day's going to be? Yes. That's playing God. Yeah. Does God actually tell you how the day's going to be? Does he sit down with you at breakfast and in between, bites of oatmeal, shit like that, and then tells you, around 11 o'clock? No, no. Does the head start telling you how the day's going to be when you wake up in the morning? Does God ever play God? No. It is God, let's say. The head plays God because it ain't God. Yeah. But for some of us, we live as if it is. We listen to every freaking thing it says. Yes? So I don't know. I don't think anything is just a phenomena. I believe the parasite has a very interesting strategy. It keeps you in a state of not knowing. Yeah. So it can get away with tons of shit. Keeps using you for transportation. Ay, ay, ay. I have not gone to jail in 37 years, except to visit. I was in jail at the end pretty much at least once a month. I would say, actually, once a month would go on for like 7 months. I'd be arrested and for like every month. Yeah. And it was getting shorter and shorter, the period between arrests. What was I listening to get arrested so much? The infinite? No, I don't believe so. I think the head was informing me of what to do and this and that, and there you are. And who got left with holding the bag? Did the head go to court? Did the head go to jail? Did the head lay in the hospital? No, I did. That driver almost killed me. You think I'm gonna spend the money to go send it to rehab? It's not gonna rehab. A parasite is a parasite is a parasite. There's no point it becomes your amigo. So I don't know. I got a thing about this because I feel if you don't see that which has defeated you as foreign to you, you're really reinforcing the possibility of its defeating you to continue. Yeah. It may not be as glorious and flamboyant like when you're actively using, but it may be drip, drip, dripping you every fucking day. Yeah. So, hey, thank you.
The way Rico has a hand up.
Come on, Rico.
So come on, Rico.
Good afternoon. Good evening, family and friends. Thank you for allowing me to be here with you. I send you love and light from my heart to yours on this gracious day. You know, Paul, as you was thinking, I was like looking back, seeing what it was like looking back. And I looked at my life, and I think for me, about the first 5 years, I think I was so heavily involved in the fellowship and scared not to believe what was happening in the fellowship that I thought the resentments and the fears were mine. It wasn't until I had several years of 10 and 11 all the time, every night for years, that another door started opening for me. And it opened slowly. It didn't just bam. It opened slowly, and more and more and more I got to take a look at. They didn't have the same kind of effect they had on me, the fears and the resentments, as they did in the first years. And I was doing the same kind of damage to others I was doing to me, which was I was telling all the guys, our sponsors, about your resentments and your fast. And I was doing the same thing to them that I did to myself. A lot of those guys are still with me and they've been sober a long time. Now we see that they're just fears and resentments. They don't belong to us. We're not the owners of them anymore. But that took a while. That wasn't an overnight experience for me. That took a while. So I mean, it's real clear to me now, crystal clear. As many times I've taken people through that book and told them they were driven, I'm telling them this, and I'm believing I'm driven too. So it takes a while for that door to open up. For me, I think the key was for years, constant every night, no matter what, 10, 11, 10, 11, 10, 11, every night, until slowly I start questioning, hey, are those really my fears? Are those really my resentments? Do they belong to me? This is like many years later. Do I own them now? So slowly it comes, but a lot of that has to do with the focus of the fellowship, which is an offshoot of the book, which tells us when we do the columns, your fears, your resentments, you're this, you're that. And I believe them, but I don't now. So thank you, Paul. I love you, man.
Well, great. Yes. One belief can lead to another. Yeah. Yes. So almost like a stepping stone. You believe one thing that's suitable for the situation, but then the situations change and you get into the habit of being sober. And then the foreignness that was displayed in your behaviors all those years becomes like a big thumb sticking out. Yeah, it's hard not to see. People are very close to it all the time. Like I was possessed. I was driven by a demonic intellect or something. Yet there are ways of. There's an intimation. We know that there's something on us. Yeah, we know that there's something that's in us. It's just a strong habit of owning. But in this case, it out definitely overplayed its hand. And it's if with a little bit of an understanding, you're going to see a whole lot because it's obviously in both cases something was doing through you what you couldn't do for yourself. Yeah. Yeah, there was just different strokes. The lower power has a different bent than the higher power. Yes, but it, but the horse is the same. Something like, was petted and this and that. The other one was whipped, but the horse was the same. It was the jockeys, the people the thing that was riding it with the most influence. And it would be nice if you just look at page 64 where they describe the difference between what has defeated us and us. It says being convinced self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us. That's it. Being convinced, one of the definitions is to believe with certainty. Do you believe with certainty that self manifested in various ways is what has defeated you? If you do, we're now going to look at its common manifestations. The resentment is the first one we look at. Resentment is not yours. They're not your resentments. They're manifestations of self through you. Yeah. That's not that's not like a half-inch different meaning. It's a huge different meaning. It's the difference between problem and my problem. Yeah. That my is where all the meaning that this guy was seeing being shifted by the condition he was in concerning his wife from seeing her nice traits and then dwelling on her defects, the same thing in a way. Yeah. When you see the manifestations of self as yours, you call them mine. Yeah. That is an act of being bound to self. People go in, they write all these resentments, but they came in with them as theirs, and they go out of the event as theirs. Yeah. No one's saying, "Hey, listen, bro, they're not your resentments." No, it doesn't matter where they're at. It may be stored, but when it's time and they're in the right place, there'll be a recognition, and that recognition is going to allow a freedom from something. Yeah. Yeah. We all could use more relief. And that's what I felt it brought to me. Yeah, it just illuminated recovery, and it illuminated certain stanzas or sentences in the book that I felt were downloaded by a higher power. And my life in recovery started being based by those statements, such as the one in 64, yeah, or self-imposed calamities. That means something called self imposes a calamity on us, yet we talk about it's our calamity. Don't you see that as the act of being identified as self? I mean, it's, what else can you call that? What else can you call it? So if nonchalantly the head is always in the act of being identified as self, you can't wait for the head to get it. It doesn't get it. You got to see it from other than the head. Yeah. What's freed from self is not self, it's us. Us. We see self from us, and we see it as foreign to us. And then the ability or the possibility of being free from it dawns on us. DAWNS, dawns on us. Yeah. And then it probably will show you that you've been trying to be free as self for quite a while in all of your antics. But now you have a clear direction. It is not me. It is foreign to me. Therefore, I can be free from it. Yes, free from it. And so that condition of the problem not existing for you anymore really stabilizes by realizing the problem doesn't exist as you anymore. Because for many of us, the problem is still existing as us, as we're living in sobriety. It's still existing as us in its little interpretation. Yeah. And it's really dominating the stage for many of us still. Yeah. It's just through observation. I meet a lot of people and I've watched my head. Even when you're leading people, you're being led by the head. Yeah. Yeah. Even if you're managing thousands of people, you better know what's managing you, and it ain't you. Yeah. So it's either the spirit or the head, one or the other. And after a while, you can tell the difference, obviously. Yes, obviously. Your shoulders don't go up, your breath doesn't shorten when you come up with a great idea from the higher power. It just doesn't. When you get a great idea from the head, you start breathing and it does. Yeah. I mean, you can just tell how you feel. You feel differently by the different drivers. Yeah. Yeah. So that's all we can say. That's all we can put out. I'm interested in all the other stuff in the book, but I'm most interested in this because I do not, everything else is going to look different if you don't see the act of being identified as self. I humbly feel, yeah. Everything is going to be shaded by self. All the ways you look are going to be shaded by self. If you see that it's not you, may have the possibility of being free from that interpretation. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So, and if you need any support, we're here twice a week. As long as I can show up, I will. Yeah. I've never lost interest in this message because of the profundity to me has been vast. And it seems pointless to move on without being clear about this. I really, yeah. There's a pointlessness to shit. Yeah. Don't send the self to driving school. Yeah. It's a program. It's not going to learn that much different. It isn't. Yeah. It has its ceiling. Yeah. It has its definition. It's a failed system, literally. You see that on page 67 to end the talk for me. Then if anyone wants to share. Uh, why are we in so much fear today? Nice question, eh? Why are we in so much fear today? Before the head answers, it answers for us, which is, isn't it because self-reliance has failed us? It would be a pretty high reliance on self, taking yourself to be self. Don't you think that would be an extreme reliance on self, taking yourself to be it? I mean, seriously. So it's such a beautiful statement because a lot of people believe fear is a cause of a lot of shit, but fear is an effect first. Before fear is a cause, it's an effect of something else. And this is from the diagnosis of the big book. And that something else is self-reliance. So self-reliance is the cause of the fear that's causing all these other effects. Do you think you should directly deal with fear without bypassing the self-reliance? You think that's a wise move? They described it, saved you a lot of time. Don't emphasize the fear, emphasize the self-reliance. Tell the truth about it. Because the size of the fear in your life is based on the size of the self-reliance. That's out of the book. Yeah. And we're relying on a failed system. That's why everything gets ballooned into different sizes. Yeah. Yeah. So if you have trouble realizing what self-reliance is, just look at the two definitions of the words and just check it out. Look up a definition of reliance and look up a definition of self. And if you go to the dictionary, it's amazing how many words there are that have self hyphen and then they come after. The one I saw a long time ago had about 80 self and then like self pity, self this, self that. And about 70 of them would be in a negative category, and maybe 10 were positive. So that's what you're getting with the deal, relying on self. You get 70 sort of negative myopic traits, and you get 8 or 9 good traits. And you're hoping your little marble's gonna land on the 8 and 9 good traits all the time. That's a pretty big gamble. Just check it out. Go to a dictionary, look up self, and see how many things are hyphened and come after it. It's amazing. Then go to spirit. See which one is overemphasized and which was underemphasized.
Hey, Paul, I got a quick
Self-pity.
comment.
Yes.
You know, I've been around for a couple of summers, work with a lot of people, and I think one of the things that happened is that we're married to self, us being married to self, as we were taken through the book early on. And unless you run into somebody like you or a few other non-dual teachers, most of the people are married to what it says in the book. Although it does say that in the book, but you skip over that because
Yeah.
the heavy duty sponsors say selfishness, self-centeredness, that we think is the root of all your troubles, filled with hundreds of forms of it. And they start quoting all this stuff. And it's all from the book. And you get married to that and you start doing it to other people. For me, what has to happen now is there's a few people on here I talk to outside of here, and we talk about the role of self in our lives as we are today and as we were, and try to pass that message on to somebody else. So I think eventually, at least I hope, this message will start coming into just what I call basic AA, NA, or C 12-step meetings,
Yeah.
and we'll start to see and start minimizing the effect self has had on us and start looking at the infinite one, how he can have on it. I really think that's It's coming. I've seen it over the last couple of years coming, but it's coming quietly because you get shot down if you go into regular 12-step meetings. Like, don't say that in the book, all that
Oh,
stuff.
it's
But
already,
that's going to change. That's
yeah,
going to change.
it's spreading out like molasses. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's coming.
You're all part of it. We're all part of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Kathleen.
This isn't like it's just a highway. You make asphalt. You're not going to intrude on the person's private property and make their driveway asphalt. Yeah. So if you're on the highway and you like it, then go on this highway that's asphalt. If you want to do whatever, it's fine. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But I like to see options because a lot of times when people feel a need to find something outside of AA, they don't go back to AA. I'd much rather have it inside of AA. So yes, yeah. A lot of people who leave AA to get something don't come back with it. And I'd like to, why not bring that shit in so that that possibility of getting lost again doesn't happen or cuts down the percentage of that happening. Yes? Yeah.
But then you got the AA police saying, don't bring that in here. That's not AA.
Well, yes. Well, hey, everything is beautiful, but there's humans in it. Yeah, that's the way it goes. Yeah. So remember, they put it in the book, Contempt Prior to Investigation. I mean, they knew what was coming. Yeah. And they also knew what was coming and saying something is constantly revealing stuff to us, and people who come after are going to add on to this whole thing. Yes? Why would you want to choke that movement? Yeah, yeah. The book is a living book. Yeah. Yeah. It triggers uh, new ways of seeing in people. And those people are members of us. And those people share it in the community they're in. And whatever happens, happens. And if it's strong enough, it's gonna outlast the whatever constraints, and it's gonna, you ever see those flowers that they come right out of a sidewalk, you know what I mean? So that's sort of how the faith I have in the message. I really do. Yeah. I don't think it's gonna has to be, you know, meticulously cared for to take hold. I don't. I mean, I believe the lack of relief is quite a motivating factor. Yes. Yeah. And let's get down to the exact nature of the wrong. Yeah. And if you see the exact nature of the wrong is foreign to you, that's a hallelujah, really. Because then you're not handcuffed and by the identification and trying to be free as it, you get to be free from it. And I believe the freedom from it is the right direction, not the freedom as it. Yeah, I do. So, yeah, we just get together. Did you get any advertisement to come today? Were you promised a Tupperware thing or something, were you? Yeah. If you bring another person, you'll get another, what, hearty handshake or something. Who knows? No. We stand on the message. Actually, we stand on the higher power. If I'm compelled to do something and I feel it's from that point, I'm probably going to do it. Yes. And I haven't gotten any other messages about it. Yeah. So, yeah, it's awesome. Cool. I like to be living, the page 84 stuff. The problem does not exist for you. It happened without any thought or effort on your part. You didn't arrive there, you were brought there. You were placed in a position of neutrality. It sounds like you as the mover and shaker is not necessary. That actually, attitude is an obstacle in the program. Yeah. Where the program is always like with the disease, it's harboring it, entertaining it. It's a luxury you still think you can afford. when the effects of the relief come, it's like you're placed in a position of neutrality. You are brought to this condition. Yes, you were led to this condition. There's none of you being Marco Polo. Yeah. You're moved by this program to come under the effects of this program. And that what's moving the program is a higher power. That's the spirit of us, yeah? Just like tradition two, a loving presence is expressing itself through our group conscience right now. Yeah, that's the joy of this thing, is to have an intimation of an unseen hand that you're so sure of. Yeah. It's still unseen, but you're so sure of it because you've seen it move things in your own life and in tons of people's lives. So many people I know in AA, their whole life is based on AA. Everything that came through AA into their life after they got sober. Their wives, the jobs, the house they bought, the realtor, or everything. Yes? It's just mind-boggling. How many of our lives not only started in AA, they've constantly been reimbursed through AA. Yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ. Yeah. The idea of I want to have a higher power of my own understanding, forget that. I want a higher power of its own understanding. Yes. That's revelatory because it has a much larger view than I do. This windshield isn't that big. Yeah. But what's looking through it is seeing the bigness of everything. Yeah. Yes. So, all right. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, someone else, Paul.
Yeah.
Hirsch.
Kurt.
Hirsch, Hersh.
Yep.
Hirsch.
All right.
Yeah.
I can't see you, but yes. Oh, Hirsch. All right.
Yeah. So I could relate to some of what you're saying. I could relate to some of what you're saying, but not all of it. I think what drives the suffering here is uncertainty, just uncertainty in life, not having control. And I find it hard to drop the selfing because I don't trust. I don't just trust that if I let the guard down, if I don't manage or control, that things are going to work out. Yeah, some may, and some won't. So
Well, how is that working for you right now?
I don't even know how to answer that.
Hmm?
I don't know how to answer that question. I mean, it's life. There are good days, bad days. Stuff just
But
rolls.
let's look at
along.
this, Hirsch. Let's look at this. So you don't trust something, but before that is trusting something. Do you notice that, right?
Well, I think I heard you in a different tape say something about that underlying everything is faith, that we have faith in our own. In other words, there is faith. So not in a higher power necessarily, but just faith in our own, whatever we think is right. So yeah, I can see that as true.
Well, then, if you saw that as true, and that which is broadcasting is of the mental, like the mental station, yes? So
Yeah,
the mental station is broadcasting, you don't have trust in this, you don't have trust in that, but there's trust in that broadcast. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Why not look at that? Yeah. And see, AA just puts out two cards only. trusting the infinite or trusting finite self. So you now see the trusting finite self because you're trusting what it's saying, that there's nothing to trust or there's no certainty. Yeah. So this is this what's offered in recovery is perhaps there's a better way or a different way, and that's trusting the infinite. Yeah. So the trust in the infinite, you would doubt not the uncertainty of life, you would doubt that not trusting. Yeah. So you would doubt the finite self. And that's the healthy way to go, tell you the truth.
Okay, so I don't have to think that I'm trusting the infinite, just
No,
that
no.
I'm just winging it. Is that's good. I mean, I can go with that.
Well,
In other
then
words,
go with that.
because I
Yeah.
don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, go with that. Most of the thing, you don't have to trust the infinite. You just see you're not that which is trusting finite self. See, the head is trusting itself by saying, oh, nothing's trustworthy and stuff like that. Yes? So you now question that. And by questioning the trust in finite self is actually the precursor of the trusting the infinite. Yes. Yes. You stop trusting the finite self, and therefore there's the only trust in town is the infinite, so to speak. Yeah. Yeah.
Or lady luck or whatever.
Whatever you want, but you just recognize the head. See, a lot of people who say they have no faith, there's faith in that. So something stating it has no faith, but there's faith before that. There's always trust before everything. Yeah. What AA is talking about, that trust has a huge influence on how you're going to live. And they said for the people in addiction who are obsessed with this mental idea, that trust is any life run on that self-will is hardly going to be a success. And it's really that extreme. Yes. So the other possibility is trusting the infinite. But how you start really recognizing that is to be questioning the trust in finite self. Yes. Yeah.
Do you mean
Because if you're,
doubting? In other words, doubting,
well, yes,
stuff?
because the head is presenting a statement as if it's you. We want to doubt that position because it's not you. Seriously. And then in life, see here in this very pivotal point in the big book on page 64, he says, being convinced self manifested in various ways is what has defeated us.
Leave the room.
Yeah. So self is overemphasized, and in that overemphasizing, us is underemphasized. What this program does is it produces a loss of interest in self, and then the us gets emphasized. And I would feel you'll probably travel better as an us than a self. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
It's all movement. It's movement and emphasis. Uh, and faith. And faith is definitely an energy, but it's going to manifest by the vehicle it is put in. So if you have faith in the head, and that head, let's say, has an obsessiveness or an alcoholism, that faith is going to be your demise, really. Yes. So this is what happens. We come in here defeated. We admit that we're defeated, and then the program itself causes a transfer of trust from the finite to the infinite. That's the process, I feel. So yeah.
yeah, the issue isn't alcoholism for me, but the issue definitely is, control.
Yes, well, of course, that's a definitely something that can't manage has a large desire to control. Yes.
Right.
So the head is a failed system. It's not managerial quality, literally. It can't admit that. It doesn't have the ability, so it just keeps on trying to manage and control. And the evidence that it's not wise doesn't stop it. It just can't get out of it. Yes? That's where the us has to jump in and say, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Yeah. Yes. The head's never going to say it's sick and tired of being sick and tired on eating it, the meals it makes. It's just going to keep on keeping on. Yeah. It's when the us realizes, hey, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. That distinction opens up a willingness. Yeah. Yes. So we're all the effects of things before us. Yeah. Where we're at, how we see, and everything. And as Jesus said, you'll know the tree by its fruits. Yeah. So you'll recognize something that works because it's working. Basically. And you'll finally recognize something doesn't work because it's not working, because you're not looking from it, you're looking from us. And from us, you can see the failedness of the system called self-centeredness. Yes?
Yeah, that always takes some distancing.
Eh?
It takes some distancing.
Well, yeah. Well, here we are. We're in a group distancing.
To check it out, yeah.
Yes, this is like a wedge, this Zoom meeting. Yeah.
Yeah.
It works. I've watched it. I've watched it tons of times. Yeah. See, the beautiful thing is what we're hoping to become true already is true. That's the good news. The head constantly tries to reinforce its truth because it ain't. Yeah. Yeah. So it just clears it up. And as in Zen, you'll see blue is blue and red is red. Yes. All right, Hurst, thank you. I got to go up to Tom and our man in Kentucky.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much. And so far, the thing is, I've been I've been quite inconsiderate in a love relationship. Shortly, just started short time ago, and I find myself being classical alcoholic inconsiderate. So I feel quite guilty about it, about some things I did or didn't, and I was thinking, is that also that feeling guilt a form of playing God, actually?
Well, if it continues to go back to that guilt, in some respects, guilt is helpful, but a guilt that you keep going back to turns into something else. Yeah. Yes.
Well, yes, there was also resentment and about myself, being angry about myself. Yeah.
Well, you can do an inventory on that, a quick one, and then see things happen. There's no denying that. But when they happen, after they happen, the head claims it. And so it tries to add and use what happened and puts it into its own little concoction. Yes, it's just important to know that because you're living a life seemingly, and then that living of the life is interpreted quickly by the head. Yeah. And then the head emphasizes certain things that it will return to, like, oh, you really fucked up, or they really fucked up. Yes. And on and on. And the guilt, what if the inconsideration and the slight guilt you felt, if the guilt becomes a temple, something that which is playing God, the mental state is worshiping at that temple. Yes. If you keep going back to it. Yes. Yes. So sometimes the guilt, you know what happened with me with relationship? Anytime I was in a relationship that it was me and them, it turned adversarial at points. When I saw that there was a larger thing between me and her, and it was called us, that brought out the best in me. Yeah. I believe when two people get together, something else is made. Let's call it the us. Yeah. Now, when I'm mad at someone, I'm not going to do anything for them, let's say, if I see them as an other. But I may get over that to support the us because me and my gal have something is much bigger than me and her in this us. Yeah. And sometimes if I want to get picky as a you and a me, which is easy, it that doesn't get much water because the us comes in. Yes, yes, yeah. So that's really worked over all the years. The best way I've traveled in a relationship is by seeing it as an us, than me and you. Yeah, yeah. And if you have guilt, do an inventory and make an amend if necessary. And then if the head wants to keep revisiting the guilt, you see that is obviously not you. Yeah. Guilt is not, uh, guilt isn't for itself. Guilt is to trigger something, like maybe a change. Yes. Or at least a humility and a sincerity. Yeah. It's guilt isn't to fan guilt. Yeah. So you just get guilty all the time. It has a different purpose, I feel. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe to bring attention to something that's like a groove in your life where you step on people and you really don't know. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
That's exactly what happened. Yes.
yeah. So that comes into consideration. And then you bring it to step 6 and 7 and you ask that higher power to reconfigure your behaviors in a relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not, you don't take it upon yourself. You bring it to the higher power, step 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you make the amends that are necessary. And remember, what you think you did, most people don't see it that way. Yes, I swear to God. So, yeah, yeah. The us is, it really worked with me. Amelia and I have been together 8 years, and she has 4 kids from someone else. Things, and I feel there's a something else is living between me and her, and it's this us, yeah. And I'll override being right about her or me for the us, yeah, yeah. It's awesome. It's really worked.
Thank you.
So if you want, do an inventory and bring whatever to 6 and 7. Ask, hey, I'm entirely ready to take this in consideration towards others. I'm entirely ready to reconfigure it and do what you want with it. Yeah. There
Yeah.
you go. You've done your work. And then you look, do I need make an amends? And then if you do 6 and 7, it really cuts out the need of 8 and 9, which is great. Yeah. 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 So use the process. Yeah. Because the head, obviously, like you said, the Hirsch said, it wants to control triggered by an uncertainty. So its reaction is to manage and control. Well, that's its reactions to a lot of things, like the inconsiderateness. So see that you're not that which wants to manage and control yeah, and admit you're maybe outmatched, and then you'll probably get a better result than managing and controlling your inconsiderateness. I got a hunch that it would work out better. So, all right. Anyone else? Thank you, Tom. Thank
How
you.
about Walt? You there, Walt? Walt, you there?
Walt?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Thanks. Yeah, hi, Walt. Thanks for the message. I just appreciate coming in here and sharing. One thing I really like about this its message is it doesn't negate what we learn in recovery in in the big book, but really walks along with it, and I always see that as a barometer of truth, because spiritual principles, truth is truth. It complements, and so what one of the things I've gotten out of this today, the us versus the head, and I see the head as duality. When I was working with a sponsor, and one of the things when it occurred to me when you're saying, being that self is what has defeated us, and this focus on self, I always thought of self as selfish, greed in that moral value way that it's good or bad, but really just that identification with the head, with the
Yeah.
self, is what I started to realize is that is, and this identification with the us, and it's in that space that, and this came gradually, it took a long time for this to come, but it's that space that I realized I'm the observer. I'm observing now I can see the thoughts, the distorted thinking, the past, thinking about the future, but I was able to be present in that observer mode to see that I'm not the emotions, I'm not that fear, I'm not that resentment. That's not me. I really am the driven. And it's not always that I can see that, but it's in those rare moments of clarity that I can actually observe and see that, okay, fine, I'm not that. And what am I? I'm just observing here. I don't have to figure the rest out, but I'm just not that. And I appreciate being able to come into this space and find something that complements my recovery. It doesn't negate it, and that's for me. Anytime I find something about truth and spirituality, it's universal. It's true always, everywhere. And so I really appreciate that you put this out here. It means a lot to be able to come in a space like this, and yeah. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Oh, great. Great. Thank you, Walt. And we appreciate your presence. Very nice. Thank you. Very nice. Yes, you see, the two-ness of non-duality can be seen from a false oneness, this identification as self. Yes. So the identification of self has a two-ness. It's us and self. Now, we see that as a singularity, or the head presents it as a singularity, and then we study duality. with, so we're studying duality from a duality, unbeknownst to us. Yes. But so it goes. But thank you, Walt. Yes. Yeah. Uh, yeah. All right. Anyone else? Oh no. We can start
you,
saying goodbye.
Thank you.
Hey, that's a really nice, Walt. Thank you for that share, and thank you, Tom, and everyone, and Hirsch, everybody. It's a fluid meeting. Very nice. Yeah. See, if you don't dam the stream, it always takes you to the ocean. Yes, there you go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Well, Michael Stacy, my main man in Madeira. Yes. Hirsch and his significant other, let's say, nice to meet you both. Maryland, land of something.
DeSantis.
We're down in, oh, yeah, we're down in Florida. Yeah. Kathleen, I definitely know it's not Delaware. Cassandra. Oh, nice. The comet of Cassandra's come into our orbit every 4 years or something. Yeah, that's
2 years.
oh,
Good
2
to
years.
see you, Paul.
That's good. Yes. Oh, 2 years. Oh, good. Well, our missing you was 4 years. How's that? Nice to see you. I was happy to see you there. Yeah. Stephen Mack, as always, on having never left. Paula, Chris down in Massachusetts. I think he's vacated. No, there he is. Rico Cruz. Yeah. You can't get the East Coast out of you, Rico. I don't care how long you live in California. Yeah. That disguise is weak. Yeah, yeah. All right, Rick Rowe up in Toronto. Joseph, our man in France. Nice to see you, Joseph. Miss Diona. Looking good, Diona. Great. You feeling all right? Good? All right, good, good. Vlad, our man in Portugal, my main man. I heard Vlad is a musician. He put out some great music. Some of it's on the website, and he re-engineered one of our Zen Bit Slap, what you call it, theme, which is thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So I recommend you go to the music section of Zen Bit Slap, and I think it's there. So he put a lot more accordion in there. Yes, yeah, yeah, it's very sounds good. Bray, my main man, I missed Bray. Bray and I go way back. He would be the only guy without a wetsuit when we were in the water surfing, boogie boarding. Couldn't believe it. He did have a little bit of built-in neoprene, but it was amazing out there, freezing water. Nice to see you, Bray.
Yeah, good to see you.
I still have the same number if you want to call later or whenever. Sometime. Yeah.
All right.
See you. Travis, our man in Santa Rosa. You got a clearer sky than ours. We got gray down here. Miss Folkman. Miss Folkman. She looks like she's right next to God's furnace. It's nice. That brilliant light there. It's cool. It almost looks like melted gold. Yeah, or like a steel foundry. That's cool. Tom Lazone from Tacoma. Nina. How are you, Nina? Yes. The furniture looks the same, similar.
You see the dog?
Yes, I saw the dog. Yeah.
He wants to be on camera.
All right, bring him on. Yeah.
He's there. Anyway, yeah, all is well. Thank you.
All right, good. Sean in T-Town. Yeah. Jess L. Jess is she's busy growing her hair and she took some time out to come to the Zoom. Thank you, Jess. Yeah. Yeah. Get back on it. Let the growing begin. Kathy in Cleveland. GG in San Fran. I can't get to the other page on here. So, I got Sean in NorCal. I think I got everyone. If I didn't, I still got you. We're here again today at 4:30 Pacific time under the banner of non-duality. And again, we have 2 meetings of recovery a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10:30 Pacific time. Everyone's welcome. If you go on the website and that's not posted, go to any Zoom link. It's the same link. It'll bring you to the meeting. Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you soon. Sooner than yeah. Paula. I forgot. Miss Paula there. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Right on. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye,
Paul.
y'all.
I'm grateful for you guys.
Clean, thank you.